Welcome to the December 11th, 2018 episode of Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And PyroJackFrost.
And I was going to say the OG3 is back again, but a certain group of people criticized me, had the gall to
Those
say
mountebanks.
Who would do that?
That I keep saying the same things, and I don't want to get stale. I don't want to feed the naysayers. Don't say nay anymore. You cannot be horses.
Alright, so it's a good thing you did not mention that the OG3 are back again. So everything is the way it should be. That would have been embarrassing.
But regardless of my opinions of what should be said, we have a great show here because a lot of stuff happened this week. Got a lot of important stuff in the gaming community, and also a lot of cool stuff that was released and announced. Especially for modern and classic stuff, a lot of stuff going on. I have a particular amount of really cool classic gaming items that I want to talk about that I think Lotus and I in particular will be very interested in. But the first thing...
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Well, you really don't care about the classic stuff most of the time.
Yes.
You don't want to get you don't want to have any more systems than you already have.
Like I enjoy playing them every now and then, but I'm not like a collector of consoles or really like looking at how I can play the classics.
Yeah. You also don't like the clutter. You don't like the clutter of it all. So I can get
my
with that.
classics are on emulators on my computer.
Yeah. The funny thing is, you were the person who introduced the concept of emulators to me. I'm like, what? You could play Super Nintendo games on a computer?
Yeah, that actually was
ridiculous.
Pretty fantastic because I didn't grow up with a Super Nintendo, so I was like,
Are you calling me a gateway drug?
You were that kid down the street that had the little baggie of emulators for me.
Hey buddy, I got a way you can play video games.
Your mom saying, I don't want you hanging out with that kid anymore.
Did you know that you could play as Trunks in this game? Don't you want to play as Trunks? It's like, yes I do. Yes I do want to play as Trunks. And then you play it and you're like, Street Fighter's better. But anyway, you introduced ZNES to me, and way back in the day, and that's still a pretty viable emulator. It's not as good as BSNES, but it's still quite a good one to use. It's easy to use, so I definitely recommend it. But anyway, we have some drama from Bethesda to talk about here. Jeez,
it
man.
seems like we always have drama from Bethesda.
But especially
this is a gift that keeps on giving, man. Like I don't know how deeply you saw, or how deep you saw this rabbit hole goes, but like the first thing is, you probably heard that when Fallout 76 was released, it was a bug-ridden mess, which is like, whoa, that never happens
pretty
with
normal.
Bethesda. Yeah, so like that's not
expected.
drama. That's like.
Typical.
On one hand, you should get mad about it because this shouldn't keep happening, but on the other hand, are you really surprised? So like that's not really the drama. What people were bothered by is that apparently a lot of 76 was like a copy-paste of Fallout 4, including some bugs
like
in Fallout 4
stuff
that haven't been like addressed. So it's like, wait a second. But aside from the quality of the game, because that's just going to lead to a bad game review. But there's been some worse stuff. So probably the biggest thing is for the people who did that like $200 special edition of the game that came with that really sick helmet that was on like the original Fallout cover.
So the one thing is the helmet was like too small for a normal person.
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
You couldn't wear it.
But no,
a cat could wear it.
The thing that damn, I didn't even know about that. But no, the thing that people were really talking about though is the canvas bag, because when
What canvas bag?
It came with the bag as well.
No, I know, but what canvas bag?
Oh, yeah, that's the joke, yes. It came with a nylon bag, so people got pretty bothered by it because it was, like, much lower quality than what was pictured in...
But it wasn't just that it was much lower quality, it's that they said that they would be giving them a nice canvas bag. Like...
Oh, they actually said it?
Yeah, they advertised it.
They actually advertised it as a canvas bag.
Yeah, and all the promotional photos, like...
Well, yeah, I was talking about the photos. Yeah, they had them. But what was interesting is that people got mad about the nylon bags. So... Bethesda posted on their Twitter, like, okay, like, obviously a bunch of you are pissed off about this, so they like, tried to make up for it by giving them, like, $5 worth of in-game currency, and it's like, dude, that's not gonna fucking cut it.
It
like,
sounds so much more when you call it, like, 500...
Yeah, atoms.
Whatever they call it. Atoms, yeah.
We
like
gave you 5 Jeffrey dollars. Fuck off.
It's like 5 E-bucks. You know the bag was gonna be worth more than that. So that got people pretty pissed off, because it's like, dude, that's not equivalent exchange at all. And what got people madder is that later on, Bethesda apparently had tweeted that they were like, because like they had made a point like, yeah, I know that we're doing the nylon bags, and here's some 5 E-bucks. Like the thing is, these canvas bags were more expensive to produce than we thought, which is kind of suspicious by itself because Bethesda is like an extremely successful AAA company.
Yeah, they would have done their market research.
That's true though, but they wouldn't want to. Like, if I have $1 million, and I say that I'm going to give you a canvas bag, but if I give everyone who buys it a canvas bag, I'm going to end up having less than $1 million. Like, they don't want to lose money they already have.
No, that's true, but then, like...
But yes,
I mean,
they should have researched this.
It's a collector's edition that only has so many copies, like... You do the math before you advertise this shit.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, this is a AAA company. They would have already had a business analyst take a look at the cost of these things before announcing it. Like, that's their job. They do that.
No, but here's where things get really interesting, because there's 2 more things. Because you keep thinking, like, oh, man, they didn't deliver their bags. And then you hear about the 5 E-bucks, and you're like, dude, geez. Bethesda, bad luck. But then Bethesda later tweeted out that I think they were giving some of the canvas bags away to, like, really popular, I think it was YouTubers, at like conventions and stuff. It's like, wait, they were too expensive to produce and now you're giving them away. It's not nearly as many as the people who had ordered it, but like you're giving these, like now it costs nothing to just giving them out. But what really got people mad, because like that obviously got people mad, but this is what got people mad and concerned, was that there was some sort of bug with something going on with their website or parts of their website, because somebody had gone onto the support website to update a support ticket, because you can imagine a lot of people were doing that at that point.
Yeah.
But apparently customers were able to see like any other customer support tickets, which included their personal information, because that would make sense on a site like that. But like, I could see your stuff, you could see my stuff, and it's like, whoa, that is like a critical leak. This is the kind of shit that got Sony in trouble to the point where they publicly apologized to like everybody. So like, Now it's like, now it's gone meta. It's not just Bethesda's games that are buggy as shit. It's like their website as well. Except this has actual like potentially dangerous consequences. I think they fixed the bug pretty quickly, but it's like, how does that happen? Like it's just like worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean this is just handled very poorly from all angles, and in such a, you would expect this kind of thing from maybe a small company, and like you would have some forgiveness for it, but this is one of the biggest video game developers that we have. Like you know,
it's one of the big ones. Yeah.
When Drakengard came out, it has one of the longest legs of any game that I've ever can remember.
Wait, what game?
You know what I mean?
What game?
Not Drakengard, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was like, what? Drakengard, the game no one played?
I'm sorry. Whatever 4 is. Or 5, I'm sorry, 5. Whatchamacallit? Not Skyrim.
Yeah, no, Skyrim. That's 5.
Skyrim is... I'm thinking of Oblivion, Jesus.
You know, Oblivion is 4, I think? But
it's 4, yeah, and then Morrowind's 3.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry.
Drakengard can only count to 3.
Yeah, well, Drakengard would have been a better name for
so can
the
title. Half-Life.
Yes, so can anything Valve has ever done. It can only count to 3. Or no, can
Valve
only
cannot actually.
Yeah, it can only count to 2. Excuse me. Even Half-Life 2 Episode 1 and 2 can only count to 2.
Yep.
Portal 2, Dead Rising 2. It's like now it's just a joke. or not Dead Rising. I'm sorry. The zombie
Left 4
FPS.
Dead.
Left 4 Dead. Thank you. Left 4 Dead 2.
It can count to 4 because it's Left 4 Dead, but it can't count to 3.
But the thing with Bethesda here, I forgot to mention this actually. The person who had tweeted like, oh yeah, the canvas bags are expensive. Sorry. It ended up being more expensive than we thought. People got mad at that, obviously. It was like when EA said pride and accomplishment, except that, like, the CEO of EA didn't post that like some guy did. But, like, so what really also got people pissed off was, like, after that tweet that's like, oh yeah, we're not doing the canvas bags, they're more expensive than we thought, Bethesda later posted, like, oh, sorry about that, guys, that was some, like, intern or whatever, and, like, we'll deal with that matter. And that means one of two things. One, they're lying and trying to cover their asses, which is sleazy. Or two, that really was an intern and they're just throwing him under the bus, like he's not supposed to be representing the company anyway. Like, was the intern lying? Like, are you getting him in trouble for telling the truth, or what's happening?
It just sounds like a throwing them under the bus situation because, like, if...
But throwing him under the bus for what, though? Like, were you going to try to keep that a secret forever? Like, what is this?
Well, no, you throw somebody on... You sacrifice somebody you don't care about, like an intern.
No, I know, but it's like, what did the intern do wrong, though? Like,
he didn't do anything, but, like, he is the mouthpiece of the company for that, and, like, he could take the fall and get fired even if it isn't his fault.
Yeah, but that's annoying for multiple reasons. Because one, why do you have some intern representing your company on the most public of social media? And number two, if you don't, then why are you lying about it and trying to, like, deflect? It's like, deal with, like, again,
that's exactly why.
Like, you're a AAA company, like, deal with this shit. Like, it's not fun, and we understand that, but, like, now Bethesda's gotten people even madder by, like, just sacrificing some, like, college student or whatever the hell they did. It's just like, dude, come on.
No, they're just pieces of shit for doing this kind of stuff. I mean, really, really stinks, and especially since this is the kind of game that should work. I mean, like, the whole thing, though, everything about it should be smooth. I mean, like, I can understand, a multiplayer game like this, I recognize as is a platform. It's going to change over time. It's going to get better over time, but it also should be fun to begin with. And when it's a piece of shit from the very beginning. But
like we talked about before, though, I mean, granted, it's not like the other Bethesda games aren't good, but like
they have charm.
I think the problem with 76, like we talked about the bugs, but the problem isn't really the bugs. The problem is the lack of content.
Yeah.
But then, like, going back to the other things we talked about with Bethesda, I think my biggest problem with this is how it seems like businesses in general, it's not just for video games, consider consumers as dumb. So it's like they don't want to apologize because they want to pretend that it didn't happen and think that we'll forget about it. And a lot of people will. I'm not going to get that. Like, there's going to be people who still will buy their games and then complain again when it's shitty again. It's like, but honestly, it would be such a better light if you just said, like, if you're just honest.
Yeah, it encourages goodwill. Not to mention, like you said, a lot of people will forget this, but, like, this is the internet age. Like, did you really think nobody was going to figure this out? Because there's, like, I'm not going to figure it out. Like, I'm not, like, constantly on the pulse of, like, every single company, but someone is going to find something somewhere from some company, dig it up, and then, like, tell other people about it. Like, that's how it works. Like, maybe you could pull this shit in the 80s, but you can't now.
Part of me feels like it's worse with, like, us, because, like, I don't really play a lot of Bethesda games, but so I'm hearing this from the periphery. I'm hearing about this from people who've gone through this, and I'm just thinking, like, wow, like, it doesn't bother me, but, like,
well, that's the thing. Yeah, like, the only Bethesda game I've ever played that I can think of is Call of Cthulhu, and that's not what you picture with Bethesda games, but, like, technically that was a Bethesda game I played. Like, I don't follow Elder Scrolls. I don't follow Fallout. But, like, obviously we've heard about this.
This would be Fallout. A way that they wouldn't be able to get in another customer, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I played Fallout 3 and I played New Vegas. Those are the two games I played, like, in the modern age. I never played any of the Elder Scrolls games.
I played Oblivion and I played a little bit of Skyrim. I've never beaten them. The only Bethesda game I've beaten was... The only games I've beaten were 3 and New Vegas, but
you never beat Home Alone on the Nintendo.
but still, it's like I thought their games were okay, but they were too long for the time that I had, and it's like this is just making me not necessarily want to try one of their games again. Or I guess it's giving me more reason not to. Not that I will never, but they're not making themselves look good in someone who was once a consumer
golden
of their
child.
stuff.
Well, no, they were particularly loved and forgiven for about anything. I would say from a moral standpoint, this is dissuading me from following them, but otherwise, it's really just what I do with any other game that I know is going to have DLC. Like I wait till the Greatest Hits edition comes
Wait
out.
until it's like $10.
Yeah, well, that too. But when all the DLC is out, or in Bethesda's case, like I wait until the game is fixed. Like,
Yeah.
never play a game on day one and expect perfection. What?
But like 76 is an MMO,
Yes,
so
that's
it's
a
never
different
going to
case.
be
Yeah.
finished.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, it's less a
well, no, not
isn't
finished, just fixed. For an MMO, I'm not expecting all the DLC, but I'm expecting like the game to work. So like I'm not like I would avoid it for the first like couple of weeks, for example, if I were into that kind of thing.
Isn't this a battle royale style game? Like
No.
No, it's
not like a
Fallout.
battlegrounds
No, it's
type
multiplayer
game.
Fallout.
It's not necessarily an MMO because you can only have like a certain amount of people, like let's say on a map, but it is in a MMO vein where there's quests you complete and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. I got the impression that it was like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, you know, like
not
like
even close.
Fortnite
No,
is.
it's a Fallout game, except that
Okay.
it's multiplayer. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because
I didn't
PlayerUnknown's
know.
there's
Battlegrounds
raids.
is really hectic and chaotic, and it's just like, oh, where are the other players? This isn't like that.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, but yeah, this is shitty all around. And I'm not a big MMO guy to begin with, but like this, like
Yeah, if you were.
if I were, I do like the Fallout aesthetic, and I do like the Fallout like themes, and I do like Fallout 3 and New Vegas quite a bit. I didn't play 4 because I heard it wasn't worth my time. And because a lot of people didn't like it. I played a little bit of 4, but I thought it was bloated.
Well, one thing that's kind of frustrating about 4 is that, like, you know how in Fallout, like in 3 and 4, you know how you customize your character and you can adjust like in a way you adjust like your history when you're born, because that's how the payoff for adjusting your stats. The thing with Fallout 4 is the story revolves around who you are and the person you're following. So like even though it's a custom character, like the fact that there can be any kind of reveal about you or your family or whatever, it's like, well, you're not as custom as you thought you were.
Yeah. Well, that was the big complaint about 4 to begin with, was that, you know, you're supposed to be playing D&D, but in the future, you know,
That's
or like in the 50s future. Like you're supposed to be a blank slate and doing, you know,
Yeah, you
making
can't
your own
say like
adventure.
I'm chaotic good, and then it's like the game's like, actually you were evil, like, but no, I'm not. I made my character, like that kind of thing. Like Fallout 4 doesn't do that, but like, yeah, there's reveals about who you are. It's like I thought I determined who I was.
Yeah. But we do have a lot to talk about here, so we should move on. Another big thing that was announced at the so we have actually a lot of news here from the Video Game Awards. This is like the big news from this week.
Yeah, I did not see it coming.
Yeah, I get it. It took me a second because you said that totally straight.
So the first DLC character past Piranha Plant in Smash Brothers Ultimate got announced, and it is a doozy. It is a very cool one. So the main character for Persona 5, Joker, got announced. Which not only is he a guest character, which is awesome. It's always cool when there's a character outside of the Nintendo brand in these games, but it's totally off console, right? You know, Persona 5 never came
to a PlayStation game.
Yeah, it never came to a Nintendo console.
Yeah, it's interesting because of this, a lot of people are like have rumors now that maybe Persona 5 will come out on Switch.
Oh, I
That's
heard
a good
about
bet.
that, yeah.
Which would be pretty cool. But it was interesting when this came out. Like, so one of our friends, Mr. Ryu, posted on Facebook Joker and Smash without a picture, and I'm like, wait, Joker from Batman? Because it definitely can't be from Persona 5. Because I was like, it can't be. And then I just searched Joker Smash, and I saw the trailer, and I'm like, you know what? I was going to get Smash, but now I definitely have to get Smash.
Yeah. I actually saw a pretty funny like meme image. It was the scene from Deadpool 2 where they're taking applications for joining X-Force, and it's like the Joker. So it's like, so are you in any Nintendo games? No, I just saw the sign and I thought I would sign up. Okay, you're in. It's like, nice.
Well, I think this is cool for a number of reasons. I mean, it is cool to see this character in particular in Smash, but I will remind people that Persona characters are not far into fighting games. They were Persona 3.
Games.
Just Persona 4. Persona, or I guess
and
there's some
3.
Persona 3 characters.
Yeah.
Persona 3 and 4 characters. Yeah.
So the Persona 4 had the fighting games, but there were some Persona 3 characters in those fighting games.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So,
Persona 3
and
and 5 haven't had their own fighting games yet, but I just find this really cool.
Oh, actually, wait a second. In BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, aren't there Persona characters as well?
There might be. It's probably from Persona 4.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but this is really cool. And I don't know this character's specific powers, but I'm sure you can elaborate, Pyro. But do you think he'll be well suited for like a Smash Brothers atmosphere?
Let's put it this way: if they can have Cloud and Bayonetta and Solid Snake,
and a potted plant.
I'm pretty sure they could do it with anyone. But yes, I don't know what his moves might be because like in the game, obviously it's a lot about like using personas and magic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they're exactly going to do that. But I could see it, and I guess really more. I'm curious. I don't necessarily want to speculate. I'm just really curious what it's going to look like when it comes out.
Gotcha. Well, I'm excited, and I'm gonna wait until after Christmas in order to buy this one, just in case somebody gets it for me.
Yeah, I genuinely wonder if he's gonna like use menus or if that's a little like like. But the thing is though that borders on like getting out of character. But I was wondering if he would like the menus pop out of him like a spike defense move or something. But like that might be like a little too jokey. I know the guy's called fucking Joker, but
that's
like,
not why he's called Joker.
Yeah,
he's called Joker because he's a wild
the playing cards.
Like,
yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. We should go over a lot of the Video Game Awards stuff while we're here because there's tons of it. The first of all, the game that won Game of the Year was God of War, and from everything that I know about it, it deserves it.
It was funny.
Cool.
I've heard a lot of people who are really, really happy that Red Dead did not win.
Yeah, and I think that there's good reason for that because Red Dead won like every other award, which is so you need to have multiple games get spotlights during this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
speaking of, Spider-Man got snubbed like a lot.
Yeah, and Spider-Man's like the other big title I would expect to have won a lot of stuff and didn't. But Red Dead, you expect that game to win a lot. So, but I think when you do this kind of award show for video games, you also want the game to sink in a bit before you go whole hog and give an award to something that has just come out. Red Dead's not that old, God of War, we've allowed it to sink in and people still love it. Even now. So
I mean, also it seems like from a lot of people that I've talked to about Red Dead, like they liked it when they first started playing it, but the longer they play, because it's a long game, like the less they're really enjoying it.
Yeah. It gets repetitive and like there's a lot of stuff to do in the game, but like because like you only really want to do the missions, like there's a lot of stuff to do, but like there's no consequence for it. Your horse's scrotum contracting because of the cold. I mean, like, why is this in here?
Yeah, thank God they programmed that in. If they hadn't, I would have been disappointed.
I understand you want realism, but like nobody wants that. Number one, and like, what does this? Does it make the game better? No.
Well, that's the thing. Like, concentrate on like making a good game before you get to like crazy aesthetic decisions like that.
Yeah, and
I mean that's amusing icing on the cake, but it's like let me have fun with the game as well.
Open world games have this issue. It's been documented that you need to have an interesting world with a lot of activities to do in it in order for it to be fun.
Well, that's the thing, or else you're just in a field, and the only thing open world means is that it takes you longer to get to your next mission, because now you have to run for 5 minutes instead of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It's like, can I just get there? Like, it's not fun at that point.
Now, I think I'll probably play the Red Dig games eventually, both of them, because I like the aesthetic. I don't really care much about the GTA games anymore at this point, because I would rather play a goofy game like the Saints Row games, if I want that kind of fix, because the Saints Row games like give you all kinds of ridiculous powers and stuff like that, which is how they made that open world formula work.
Well, yeah, you could fly. It's like the open world doesn't seem so bad when you can just like beam across it with super speed or something.
And do all kinds of crazy bullshit, like...
I mean, like, this is why fast travel exists. It's like, it's an open world, but you don't actually want to be running around the open world. It's like, can I just like Dark Souls, let me just teleport somewhere else. Like, I already walked there, and the experience was cool the first time, but like, now I'm grinding, so could you just, like that kind of thing.
Yep. But these are all good choices for this kind of thing. I mean, as much as I'm criticizing it, I mean, Red Dead, it's hard to ignore the production value, it's hard to know. You can't call it a bad game, like no matter what, it does a lot of cool things, it's just whether that's to your liking or not, So, but there's a lot of other things to talk about, so we're going to move on here. JRPGs, of course, get ignored, and which is a big shame because there were a lot of really good JRPGs this year.
Yeah, Valkyria Chronicles 4.
I was just gonna say, there's a lot that people were calling out, like Octopath Traveler didn't get any awards.
I heard that game was like okay,
except for
depends on who you ask.
Like the aesthetics were brilliant and everything else was like okay.
But I feel like this is also not a surprise. It's like the video game awards are
Western,
are American based.
Yeah.
Well, they're also they're like the Oscars of video games. It's like, there might be a really good game that people don't know about, so it doesn't get the award, even if it is the best at whatever.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too, is it's American-based, so it's going to be a lot of winning based on games that were either made in America or that Americans typically would like. But also, you can consider that most of the games that are probably going to get a lot of attention at something like this are AAA games. And if we're, being somewhat serious about this, most JRPGs are not really considered AAA games.
Yeah, and even when they go into the indie game category, it's like the AAA equivalent of indie games. So like a couple of years ago, for example, who's going to win the best indie game? Like Undertale's the only one that's even like in the competition. It's like, all right, well.
Yeah, exactly. When we're playing all kinds of stuff, like Minute and things like that. A game like Minute isn't, it didn't even get mentioned or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that and to some degree you can understand that, but also I guess the disappointment here is that it this should be a thing that that highlights stuff that doesn't get a whole lot of attention, but it just gives more attention to things that already have a ton of it.
Yeah, again, the Oscars, like production values or whatever. Hardcore Henry wasn't even nominated because it's just a mindless action movie. It's like, yeah, but it's good at what it did, but people don't care about that. So the awards are biased before the votes even begin.
Yeah, and that was a Russian film. It was a foreign film too. It could have.
Russians
I
love
really
their
love
dash
that game.
cams. They really do. And now they made a whole damn movie out of it. It's like a joke.
But we should move on. Let's see here. Judgment gets an official trailer and a Western release window, which is cool.
Yeah, this one I don't know. Which is Judgment?
So that is the formerly named Project Judge, which is made by the Yakuza team.
Okay, I do know what this is.
It is the new game in the Yakuza franchise that is not a Yakuza game.
Yeah, it's like how Heroes got changed to No More Heroes.
Is this the one where you play as a detective?
Yeah, it looks that way.
Yeah. So
it doesn't look like you're brawling on the streets, but it still has that Yakuza special emphasis when you do mundane things. Like when Kiryu gets ready to play a video game in the arcade, it's like, here we go, and it's like nothing's really happening, you're just sitting down on the stupid chair. This game looks like it's gonna do that kind of thing, that just melodramatic effect for when you do things, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, what's cool about it is they are using the assets and the setting of the Yakuza series for something different. I mean, what we have a whole bunch of Yakuza games at this point, over 10, or just at 10, I think.
Well, if you just number them, then there are 7 because there's 0 through 6. But then there's Kiwami 1 and 2, so that's 9. There's Dead Souls, which is 10. And then there are the Japanese-only games that we didn't even get, and you can sort of count Fist of the North Star, but it's a Yakuza game with the Fist of the North Star skin, kind of.
Yeah, so you're an ex-lawyer who's looking for justice in the streets, so you're a vigilante, essentially.
Nice.
So yeah, you're a Yakuza. I mean, come on.
Yeah, the thing is, though, there's going to be a big difference, because if you're not actually a Yakuza, then you're not going to have all of the political drama with, like, the families and, like, this clan attacking that clan, and you better not fuck up or the boss is going to have your ass. Like, you might have your own group of people, but it's not going to be, like, it can't be like that.
It'd be cool, though, if, like, I don't know if this is in the same universe, but it'd be cool if you cross paths with some of the characters from... Like, I haven't played any of the Yakuza games. Yeah, if you just
pass by Kiryu in the street beating some guy up and you're like, oof, glad I'm not that guy, just keep walking, and that's the only appearance of the game.
No, it takes place in Kamurocho, so it's the same fictional
that's great.
Part of Tokyo.
Well, the funny thing is, though, in the Yakuza games, lawyers are, like, never addressed, like, so, like... Well, because they just wouldn't be. It's the cops, and, like, I think a guy has mentioned he's had, like, someone on the inside once or twice, but, like, I don't think there's really going to be dealing with the Yakuza versus the lawyers, because it's usually, like, corruption on the inside anyway, so, like, you're probably not going to get involved in Yakuza-related stories unless there are more minor, like, not cataclysmic level stuff between foreign governments, like, in the Yakuza series.
Yeah, so this is from the trailer. This appears to be, a character who is basically saying, basically thinking to himself that the system is failing everybody, so he has to take it into his own hands.
Based on the Yakuza series, yep.
Yeah, because of corruption. So
yeah, there's actually a part in Yakuza 2 where this one cop is grilling a Yakuza, like, family boss, and the family boss is just keeping his mouth shut, and eventually he's like, hey, did you get a call from a guy? And the cop's, like, supervisor told him to let the Yakuza guy go, and he's like, damn it, man, like, yes, I did, you're out, but I swear, if you pull any shit, I don't care who you know on the inside, I'm gonna arrest you for sure. And the guy was like, dude, this whole police versus Yakuza thing, it's a thing of the past. Like, you gotta get with the times, man. And even, I had mentioned this before, when Yakuza 3 came out, there was an interview with, like, real Yakuza people and how they thought the accuracy of the game was, and they had even made jokes about politicians and Yakuza just being the same thing. It was like, ugh.
So we should move on, but I know our group is excited about that one in particular because we're big fans of the Yakuza series. So we'll probably get into that one when it gets released. A big thing was that this is erupting on Twitter quite a bit. Sonic Fox gets Gamer of the Year. Which, congratulations to him. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a badass position to have.
A bunch of professional gamers have come out and said this guy, like, knows how to play like a whole bunch of games that, like, even I don't know how to play it, and he's, like, awesome at them. He knows how to play, like, a ton of them and be really great at them.
I just think it's so cool that someone got a title Gamer of the Year.
Yeah, this guy deserves it. Yeah.
But not only does he deserve it, though, this is also, like, a big deal, like, in the gaming community in general, because, like, he is a black gay furry. So, like, and he's the best. He won. So, like, this is one of those things where it's, like, validation for gamers in various people. Like, subgroups, like, everywhere. And he made, like, a tweet of, like, how it's incredible that someone who is not only one of these things, but all three won. And he also made a shout-out, like, it would be cool if, like, a woman could also win this kind of thing. Because, like, it really is, like, it's like, again, it's, like, affirmation that, like, yes, you can do this, too, even if you're not, like, a white 20-year-old guy, you know, or something like that.
Yeah, this is really great because he's been since then, just to prove how shitty the world is and how shitty society is. Like, he's been getting like made fun of and like you know, trolled online because of right after this, and it's just like,
people are assholes.
But that's
well,
the funny thing, though. It's like, made fun of for
validating.
what? Like the reason they're even coming after him is because he just beat all their asses.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, I don't know if you know who you're talking to right now.
They're just proving how much is stacked against him.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
in going in this thing. Even when he wins, he's derided.
Yeah, but it makes it all the more satisfying that he did win, though, because it's like,
Yeah.
because it really does look constantly like it's against all odds. There's only this particular group of people that's ever validated on YouTube or Twitch or whatever the hell. But like, nope, here we go. We have proof positive that, like, yes, you have a chance too. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not going to say much more personally about this, but because I don't know him and I don't know the games that he plays, nor do I follow them. But this is freaking awesome for him, and all the best. I really think this is great, and I have nothing but good things to say, you know, from what I've heard of him. Apparently,
he sounds
he's a
like,
cool dude.
based on his tweets and like what other people said about him, he sounds like a really cool guy. Like, anyway.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for that. There are a lot of other things, so I don't mean I did want to give him his due, but we got plenty of stuff to talk about here, so we're gonna go pretty speedy here. Mortal Kombat 11 announced, which is awesome. Ed Boon came out and talked about that, which also Ed Boon being like the shepherd of the series even still is awesome.
He's still doing it. It's amazing.
Yeah,
like, he's OG.
The original noob.
He is the original.
noob side
He is
of it.
the OG.
Yeah, he's noob of Noob Saibot, yeah.
But yeah, and he's the toasty guy too, right? Isn't he?
Yep. I think
That's
yeah.
actually him. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. So but
God, that's weird.
yeah,
what a thing
I mean,
to put in your game.
I love these games, like, aesthetically. I don't play them. I play a little bit of Injustice, which is derived from the new Mortal Kombat
fight
games.
System. I actually play Mortal Kombat for the story. Like, I know it's like it's a fighting game, so you're supposed to play a multiplayer, but like the story's surprisingly fleshed out for a fighting game. Like, they've really, like, they started making it more of a thing in the GameCube PS2 era, but like starting in Mortal Kombat 9, they really went all out with the story. So you're like, oh, what happens next? Like, and who would have thought that would happen in Mortal Kombat?
And what's cool about that, just like the Persona fighting games, they're worth playing even if they're outdated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's so much to do in them, and it's fun. You know, they have a great sense of humor. The the violence in them is still shocking somehow.
I know, you'd think you'd reach a point where it's like, okay, let's just have some fun with this, but no, the violence is like, some of it's like pretty, like,
it's gross.
Like, makes you look away. Like, I couldn't think of a word for it. Actually, you know what I'm curious
Repulsive.
about, though? Yeah, what I'm curious about is, starting in Mortal Kombat, I want to say 9, they had, well, I mean, earlier games, they had some joke characters like Mocap, but, like, I'm curious about, starting in Mortal Kombat 9, they had some guest characters. Like, they had Kratos and Freddy Krueger, and in the newer game, they had Alien, Predator, that was fucking mind-blowing, Alien and Predator, and Jason Voorhees. So, like, do you think Mortal Kombat 11 is going to pull anything like this, and if so, who?
Yes.
No, and 10 also had Leatherface. So, like, they got the classics. So, like, who are you going to have next? Pumpkinhead? Oh, please have Pumpkinhead. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I don't know who they're going to add. I mean, into Injustice, they added the Ninja Turtles, which was really neat.
That was fantastic. I want to see Pumpkinhead. I want to see a tall man.
Well, I mean, it's cool that they're adding the horror characters because you can abuse them as much as you want. Of course,
right.
Well, yeah, not only are they horror, they're slasher, so it's like, yes.
Yeah. So you could have Ghostface Killer, I guess. That would be another iconic one.
I wouldn't have thought about that, but yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, you need to have somebody that can be maimed, right? because of the nature of the game. It's not like Mortal Kombat versus DC where they kind of like toned it down a little bit.
They had like heroic brutalities where they just kind of beat the shit out of you, which does make sense. But it's a Mortal Kombat game as well, so it's like, well, all right. You know what I thought was kind of funny, by the way? Do you remember the Joker's fatality, or quote, fatality in that game?
Wasn't the shocking buzzer from like the '89 Batman? Wasn't it something like that?
I think so, but like
Yeah.
it became semi-well known that the original fatality was going to be he fired his gun at you that said bang, but then I think he like impaled you with it or something. So like in Mortal Kombat 9, I think it was 9, Shang Tsung had a fatality where he turned into a generic clown and did that, and it was like that was like a wink. So it was kind of great.
Well, that's actually what happens in actually one of the Batman movies.
Yeah, Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker, I believe.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah,
but,
yeah.
The funny thing is, I never actually saw that. I saw the TV version where he slipped and shocked himself, which was still pretty bad. But I'm aware that he got like straight up impaled by the bang gun.
Yeah, so that was Tim Drake actually was the character that.
Oh
that
no, you know what
killed.
it was? The fatality in the game was a little bit different. He fired the gun and it said bang, but I think then he just whipped out a real gun and shot you in the head or something. But like, but it's close enough. But like Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat 9 did turn into like a generic clown, but the animations were identical. It was like
But yeah, I'm excited for this. If anything, just to see all the stuff surrounding it. I like the first 2 games in concept. I don't own them, but I probably will own them eventually because they're just cool.
Wait, you mean Mortal Kombat 9 and 10?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, they're great. They really are.
Yeah, ever since they reinvented the series. So, hats off to them. I can't wait to see it.
You know what I actually look forward to seeing is what they do with the crypt, because in 10 they turned it into like a puzzle dungeon. It was insane. Like they really flushed it out.
Neat. Well, we should move on. We got plenty of other stuff. We have Devil May Cry 5 has more announcements to it. Anybody know anything about what happened with Devil May Cry here?
It was a new trailer. They showed so there's a new character in 5 called just V, like the letter V.
Oh, she's like a techie, right?
It's a guy.
Okay.
And they showed his moves. He's like more of a spellcaster, and he has like a crow and some other creature that he controls. But really, they also announced that the demo is going to be on Xbox One like soon, I think, and it's going to be exclusive to Xbox One.
And this is a big deal, by the way, because they'd been like Devil May Cry 4 had like an ending bit where it shows Dante and Mary, and it's like, oh, they're going to be back and doing stuff, and then like, you know, that was on the PS3, DMC. So like it's been a while, so people are ready for this.
Well, they made DMC in the meantime, so like you never knew whether they were going to return to this. That's
true.
Part of the franchise. So
DMC, I mean, everybody talked about what they did with the character Dante, but like that game's aesthetics were freaking incredible.
It reminds me that now that I have a Switch, I should play Bayonetta 2.
Oh yeah, great game. Love that game. So that's really awesome. I love that series, so I'll be playing that. Then, did anybody does anybody know anything about the Outer Worlds? Did you hear anything about this?
It's made by
Obsidian.
I'm blanking on Obsidian. Yeah, so
they were the guys who did New Vegas, right?
Not only New Vegas, but they were the original
creators of Fallout.
Creators of Fallout,
I didn't know that.
So they were originally called Black Isle Studios, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, so they got the black thing going on with Obsidian then. Makes sense.
Yes, exactly.
So the Outer Worlds is looking to be like a mix of Fallout and Borderlands. It's like a first-person shooter that takes place in like either a post-apocalyptic or like
space
Borderlands, where it
right?
could be like post-apocalyptic type worlds. Actually, not post-apocalyptic. It's worlds where the companies have grown so big that they basically control planets.
Dystopia.
And
then,
but it seems like very like humorous, like Borderlands. Like that's why that's why a lot of people are comparing them to that. That's all I know because it was basically just a trailer. But it looks actually. I don't really play a lot of Obsidian games other than New Vegas, but it looks pretty funny actually, and I might be interested in it.
Yeah, they were also they've made a lot of great games from Interplay from back in the day. So they are really well known for their stories. Obsidian, of course, made the first South Park game, The Stick of Truth. I
was gonna say on the 64. That
no,
good game.
no. The first good one. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Stick of Truth. They also made one of my personal favorites, Alpha Protocol.
I gotta look into that. That was like I got that for like $2 because nobody gave a shit, and apparently the story.
Did you say
like,
Alpha
amazing.
Protocol is shit?
No, I said the shit. But yeah, every one of their games is superbly written. They made Dungeon Siege 3. I never played that one. But they've made a lot of really, really great games over the years. They also made Icewind Dale. They made
Did they? Yeah,
KOTOR
it's a D&D.
2. Um,
Okay.
yeah, they've made a lot of really beloved games for their story. The writing in KOTOR 2 is like is very well praised, even over the first game a lot of times. So really cool stuff. Now, I will also say that this is their first game as acquired by Microsoft. So
True.
they are no longer an independent studio; they are second party. But their game will probably still come out on PC. So you don't have to worry
Hopefully.
about having an Xbox.
Well, I guess 'cause if they're owned by Microsoft, then it'll most likely come on PC.
Almost every Microsoft Studios game other than Gears of War and Halo have come out on PC as well.
Yeah, even Sunset Overdrive finally came out on PC. I couldn't believe it. It's like, well...
all of the Xbox One exclusives really have made the transition or were made to not have a transition. I mean, even Killer Instinct has a PC port, which was one of their big console exclusives. So it'll probably be on PC. Either way, it's going to be a great game, I think. Obsidian is well known for their scripts. They are not well known for their programming, but
that is true. Well, that's
maybe
why people hated Alpha
Microsoft will
Protocol.
help. Yeah, maybe. But that's secondary for our group of friends. We love great stories, so I think we'll be good with that. So I'm looking forward to it. Psychonauts 2, I didn't see this, so this is a surprise to me.
Yeah.
All it was a trailer. They introduced this thing called the Mother Lobe. I don't remember much about the trailer, but it looks like it's typical Psychonauts, kind of psychedelic.
Well, that's good. I love Psychonauts.
Freaky, deaky stuff. Yeah, Psychonauts 1 was great, and I didn't play it until like years after it came out when it was released on PC.
Okay.
It didn't like the controls didn't age very well, but the story was, and the gameplay in general was actually pretty fun. The worlds were the worlds, let's say the inners of people's brains were pretty cool.
Yeah, very
so I'm really
creative.
looking forward to how creative the new ones are, because they could do some pretty cool things with modern like technology and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So, is this still a Tim Schafer joint, or did they are they doing it without him?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay, good. Then it'll have the humor in the writing. That'll be good. That'll be good. Hades, I didn't see this one.
So that was like a surprise. It's made by Supergiant. It's their new game after Pyre and Bastion and
great.
Transistor.
Yeah,
and it's
I
basically
played Bastion
out now on for early access.
Oh, awesome!
It was basically announced at the Video Game Awards and said, "Hey, it's out now if you want to play early access."
That's cool.
Yeah, I love Bastion, and I played a good chunk of Transistor. So
yeah, I beat Bastion and Transistor. I haven't yet played Pyre though.
Yeah, that kind of seems to be the odd duck.
But I heard it's really good.
I'm sure it is. They've always had a great sense of quality and polish with their games. So,
and Hades is like a dungeon crawler roguelike type game.
That'll be perfect for their style of game for sure. Then Epic Game Launcher.
So Epic, the studio, they're releasing they've for a while had their own game launcher that just had like Fortnite on it, and they released Shadow Complex for free when they first did that, and all the other Epic games. But now they're going to actually make it bigger, and they're going to try to compete against Steam. Which so my thoughts is, I already have so many games on Steam, I probably won't necessarily want to go to a different launcher, but like the competition will probably be good, because they've already announced that any of the games that they release on there, is the people who created the game are going to get a big cut of of whatever people spend on it. So a lot more than what Steam gives.
By the way,
creators.
Speaking of that, this is actually somewhat related, but there was also an announcement of Rage 2, by id and I think Bethesda. And it looked very like pink and neon, like psychedelic, kind of crazy. It looked like it had a different vibe from Rage 1, but the game itself looked like there was more to do and it looked way more high octane. I'm still not interested in Rage personally, but it definitely had a different feel and it looked more engaging. But the reason I'm bringing this up now is that I saw that I don't know if it's going to be exclusive to it, but I believe that when Rage 2 comes out, you may have to launch that through Bethesda's proprietary launcher. And like number one, like you just said, it's I really like I don't want this to become like a Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Redbot. I don't want to like get 100 launchers, but also Bethesda's not really looking good with this Fallout 76 thing. And also I really hope that Doom Eternal doesn't make me do this because like I already got Doom 2016 on Steam.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I don't really care at this point. I have a whole bunch of launchers on my computer. I have Steam, I have GOG, I have Origin, I have Battle.net, I have Uplay. I mean, it's annoying, but I'll go wherever.
You, it's like what's one more, so I get it. But like for me, it's just like I don't want to have to like open all this shit to open stuff in it, you know? It's just annoying.
My thought is I don't necessarily care if when I open up a game in Steam I have to open up another launcher. It's more that I don't want it to be like Hulu, Netflix, to use your analogy, where I can only buy certain games on certain platforms.
Yeah. Because with Steam
like,
and GOG, for the
Blizzard.
most part, you can buy the games on each. There are some exceptions. But I mean, I will say the advantage of these launchers is that unlike Netflix and Hulu and whatever, the launchers themselves are free.
They're free.
It's more like the launchers are DRM, whereas Netflix and Hulu, like you're paying the subscription service, you're paying that, so you actually really feel that.
I think the most annoying thing is the fact that they all have to be updated separately.
That's
what's annoying. But you know, Uplay is probably the most superfluous of them all because Uplay only just like it tries to add to the experience by giving you like, you know, it's not really it has a storefront but nobody uses it, you know. It's really there just to like give you swag on certain games, you know, like they'll give you like wallpapers for doing achievements, that kind of thing, which is fine.
Nice, actually.
It's also a good way to go to their launcher. If you want to play like multiplayer Far Cry, for instance, which they're getting progressively more and more co-op friendly with those games, so that's a good way to, you know, get into the co-op space.
Yeah, I gotta say I really do like having like more tangible rewards for getting achievements or whatever.
Yeah,
like on PlayStation,
with
for example, you have like a player's level, and when you get enough achievements you level up, but like that doesn't do anything other than literally just make your number bigger. It's like I'm level 17, like who cares?
Yeah, but I mean, Bethesda's been making some other great games recently. I mean, Doom is great. Wolfenstein New Order games are great.
Doom is unbelievable.
Doom 2016 is like one of my favorite games of all time.
I am so excited. Unless it's some weird collector's edition or something that I think is going to disappear, I rarely buy games at launch. But despite what I just said about Bethesda, this is not Fallout using the same engine from fucking Xbox original. Like I like Doom Eternal, I really might get that on day one.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna buy it on day one. Doom 2016 was a revelation when it came out. Like I loved playing that game.
Doom 2016, I waited for some sort of Black Friday discount or something like that because I was a little hesitant when I saw the Glory Kills trailer because I didn't know how that would function in gameplay. So I was like, I'll wait for a discount. But now that I know how Doom 2016 plays, I have faith in Doom Eternal.
It's a dream. That game is fucking fantastic. But we should move on. We have Dragon Age 4 got just an announcement just saying that we're going to hear more about it, which I haven't really played these games very much. You know, they were kind of like the side series to go, the fantasy series to go along with Mass Effect. But a lot of people liked the first game a lot, and a lot of people liked Inquisition. 2 is like the black sheep at this point.
Well, I heard 2 was the black sheep because it had a lot of like sort of copy-pasted dungeons. So you're like, okay,
it was the same dungeon.
Yeah, I played 1 and 2. I didn't beat either of them. 1 was okay, but it's like a CRPG, like Baldur's Gate and those.
Sure.
And it was in a time when I didn't really have the time to play them, so I never actually beat it. But then I wanted to try 2 again because I knew that 1 was good enough that I would want to try 2. And yeah, it was very much copy pasted. I think they're okay games, but I'm not really into BioWare stuff anymore now, really.
Yeah. Ever since they stopped after Mass Effect 3, they kind of lost it. I know that Dragon Age
with Andromeda
Inquisition,
they stumbled, but then they like addressed that by like cutting off like single player DLC and stuff like that, and they're just like fuck the whole thing. It's like I don't know if we asked for that.
Yeah, no, they killed that series in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
And which is a shame because it was the biggest thing a generation ago.
Yeah, and from what I heard, the game itself, like if you actually play it, like the game itself is actually not bad. It's just that at launch the faces were janky and like your character looked kind of like an idiot, and like that's just not a good first impression when you turn on the game and things look stupid.
I mean, I heard that the story was not that great because it kind of, not retconned, but kind of made a lot of what happened in 3 meaningless. So
I did not know that. That's frustrating.
Yeah, that really stinks, especially when they created an entire universe with beloved characters and beloved dialogue and like how often does an entire like universe of creatures and races catch on in the collective unconscious of people? You have things like Star Trek and Star Wars that have awesome, really great well-defined races and different aliens, but you have countless of other franchises where people don't even remember what the aliens are called or barely remember. And you have Mass Effect, which has a ton of awesome races that have really cool backstories and the political intrigue and the political interactions between them all. Among them all, I should say, before Lotus gets on me.
But you got all these races, and you were saying earlier, like well-written dialogue, but like Andromeda has like one of its lines was like made into a meme. Do you know about that one?
No, I don't know about that.
Oh, it's actually hilarious. You could look it up on YouTube really easily. Like your character asks like for who something is responsible or something like that, and the person replies, for whom? And your goddamn father. And it's like it sounds like I am 12 and what is this? Like if you look up the original context it makes sense, but like I am 12 and what is this? It's like for whom? And your goddamn father. And then that person follows it up by saying like I'm sorry, my face is tired after dealing with everything. It's like what the my face is tired? Like who wrote that and acted, like people wrote that and acted it and nobody stopped it.
Yeah, well, that was very applicable to my Among comment, so that's funny. But anyway,
to whom and your goddamn father. It's such a great line.
I hope that this and Anthem turn out well. I would love to see BioWare games return, but I mean they aren't the same BioWare that they once were. They've been EA-icized, which is a really goddamn shame. But hopefully these games turn out well. I'll want to delve into these worlds again. Now this was a big surprise. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
2 was on like the original Wii, wasn't it?
So Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 was a big game on Xbox 360 and Wii at the time, and PS3.
Were these like the hack and slash Diablo-esque type games? Okay.
So these are the games that spawned from basically Baldur's Gate style, like brawling action, like.
Baldur's Gate is not brawling.
I meant close.
What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of
Streets of Rage.
The Dark Alliance games.
Okay.
So the Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance console games. The Champions of Norath style of game.
I never actually played those.
So yeah, they first made the X-Men Legends.
Yes,
and then X-Men Legends 2, and those were the first 2 games in the series, and then they made the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games after that. And then somebody tried to copy them with a Justice League one as well. So that was Justice League Heroes, I believe. Yeah. So Yeah, these games are always a lot of fun. They're kind of mindless bash 'em all, but they're a lot of fun, especially if you have 4 people,
Yeah.
because they have RPG elements. They're very, very light in that regard, but you get to play as a lot of different types of characters, and
That's always cool.
yeah, and you get to see a lot of different enemies and stuff like that. So they're fun and they're mindless fun. But it's cool because the series has been gone for a long time. They returned by republishing Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 recently, within the last like 2 years, which is good because the series had kind of like fallen by the wayside. But it's cool. There are X-Men characters in it, so Disney allowed X-Men characters to be in it. Wolverine is in it because they own X-Men again now, because they're acquiring Fox.
I'm wondering, I don't want to go on a tangent, but I'm wondering if they are going to utilize that in their cinematic universe.
They will. They said 2 years, I think, before they add the X-Men and the Fantastic Four.
I wonder if they can re-release Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and do it right this time.
They'll just do a Marvel vs. Capcom 5 or whatever. So, or they'll just write it out of history by calling it 4. Like
I was just going to say, Vice 1, 2, 3 Infinite. Like, I think it passed 5 a long time ago.
So, yeah, nobody plays that game anymore. So, it's best forgotten. And then the final thing that I wanted to mention from the Video Game Awards before we move on to a couple last minute things is Crash Team Racing remake, which is a really good announcement, I think. Since they did the Crash Insane trilogy, which which wasn't perfect but generally well received, is the impression I got. A lot of polish went into the look of it, maybe not the exact controls, which is the major complaint. But Crash Team Racing is is a game from a lot of people's childhoods that a lot of people go back to. Just like
that's
they do
the thing.
Mario
Like
Kart.
they really have a thing with that now. Like they brought back Crash, and now they're doing the racing game as well. They brought back Spyro. Like it's like that era is kind of coming back in a big way.
Well, it's all from the same company. It's all from Activision. So the Spyro and Crash games are owned by the same people, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, regarding banking on nostalgia, there's actually one thing I forgot to bring up, and this is actually a really big deal. Did you have anything more to say about Crash Team Racing first? Because I'm going to go somewhere else.
I just wanted to say that people that aren't necessarily gamers love this game, so it will bring people back into.
Yeah, it's just fun party game.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention it because my girlfriend in particular really likes this game and likes playing it with me. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited that they announced it, because I'll play the new one.
So here's the thing I wanted to bring up is limited run games. You know how they work with a lot of different developers, usually indie, because it's like, well, of course they would be willing to get the physical treatment and get more representation. Sometimes they've worked with some bigger companies, and that's kind of cool to see that happen. But recently, like this past week, this was a really big deal. This was like a reveal they'd been setting up for like a couple of weeks. But they're actually doing limited run releases of the PS4 remasters of the... I'm going to say the 4. I'm being a little bit hazy with this one, but let's just say, in air quotes, the 4 Jack and Daxter games, which is actually a really big deal. And they made like super collector's editions of them, and like a giant, like it looks like a book. It looks like a giant tome, like Soul Calibur 5.
Is that including like the Daxter game, or is it Jack X?
No, it's not, but like it's Jack X. That's why the reason I said 4 in air quotes is that does not include Lost Frontier. It's Jack 1, 2, and 3 and Jack X, which is still really cool. So there's a super collector's edition if you're into that, or you can get the standard edition, which is just like the game in the case. But like, I don't really care about that. I'll stick with my PS2 copies, but it's a big deal because like they're teaming up with Naughty Dog. Like this is like a level up in terms of collaboration for Jack and Daxter. It's just kind of funny because it's true that the PS4 games did not get physical releases up until now, but like everything Naughty Dog has done that I'm aware of has gotten physical releases, like except for that, which is kind of funny. But it's still really cool that they're working with Naughty Dog, and the collector's swag they offered was pretty sweet. Like, the two things I thought were the coolest was there was a soundtrack CD that said that it also had some demos that were never released before, and I think this is the first ever official release of the Jack soundtrack. I don't think it's ever been officially released before. And in addition, this is one thing I thought was kind of cute. They gave you a little USB drive to put into your PS4, but the part that you grab out, it doesn't look like a USB drive. It's shaped like a PS2 memory card, which I thought was kind of clever. It's kind of like how for I think it might have been Ion Maiden. They give you a little flash drive that looks like a 3.5-inch floppy disk. It was kind of like that. It's just okay. That's just really cool to see.
Yeah,
but yeah. Limited Run Games teams up with Naughty Dog. That's basically the announcement. It's just really cool that they made that happen.
That is cool. All right. Well, we have a couple classic game-related things here that I want to mention before we move on here. So to finishing up, but I just wanted to mention really quick that the Super System SSDS3, which is the optical drive emulator slash EverDrive-like device that works with PC engines and TurboGrafx systems. So this thing is cool in concept. What it did was it's supposed to allow you to play the CD games as images off of flash card, and also all of the cartridge games as well, just like a flash cart would. And it's also supposed to give you RGB out on a system that didn't natively have that. Which is the highest form of analog video out. Okay, so this is a really big deal when this was announced. But what ended up happening was the company who made it had a flawed design. And it really stinks, and they didn't own up to it, which is a big thing, a big deal. Usually when small developers of these boutique devices get told that there is an engineering flaw with their things, they either do everything they can to fix it or will own up to it at least.
Yeah, small developers can't afford to dodge that stuff.
Well, this is the same developer who made the Neo Geo SD flash cart as well. So they had a good name. They had a decent name going around. That thing was really good and well made. It has one flaw in that has long load times, but that's it. Everything works. So it's a great product. Besides that. And they're making an updated version of that. But they came out with this, so everybody expected it to be good and do as promised. But it came out, people found all kinds of flaws with not only the video and how it outputs. It outputs a very crappy signal. Very, very bad. And when you're trying to get RGB out of a system like that, you want it to be perfect. Because RGB is that's the whole purpose of doing it. You want a good quality picture coming out of your system, but they also fucked up the audio too. It's really, really bad. It's very noticeable when you're playing it. It's distracting. So a bunch of people online, Voltar and Mobius Strip Technologies on Twitter, ended up trying to work with them in order to fix the flaw so that they can come out with a revision. And at least, if they can't do a recall because they're a small company, at least all future boards would be fixed. And the company decided, no, fuck you. You worked on this and tried to help us out, but fuck you. We're not going to fix it, and we're not going to pay you for your time. And they had been working with them. They had a relationship going where they said they were going to pay them, and they didn't. So bad situation all around. But what ended up happening was Firebrand X made a board. He's the guy who comes out the
Does this guy ever take time off? Jesus Christ!
No. He makes expert profiles for the OSSC and the FrameMeister to make your games look perfect on screen.
And by the way, like we've briefly talked about making profiles for the FrameMeister, but like that shit's tedious.
Oh yeah, no.
And he just does it for like every system. And
he looks at things like with a microscope and things, and to make sure like the colors are correct and all that stuff. It's like painstaking work.
Yeah.
He'll compare CRT colors with flat screen colors to make sure that they match up perfectly, and pixel sizes are uniform and all this other shit.
Wow.
He's a fantastic resource for the community.
Yeah.
He made the audio board that fixes the audio for this thing.
And by the way, when Vice said that, this isn't just a case of like, oh, Vice knows who this guy is. Like, even on Facebook groups, like, about upscaling or whatever, like, people, like, they recognize his name. Like, Firebrand, like, people do know who he is, like, in general, in those, like, niche communities.
And Voltar is a guy who works with the Retro RGB team. And he made and Mobius Strip Technologies made the video board that fixes everything. So both boards got released. The RGB board that fixes the video just got released today, which is Sunday the 9th. And the pre-order went up for it. So you can actually fix this whole thing by sending it to Mobius Strip Technologies. He'll install both chips.
Wow.
Which is awesome. Really cool, but it's a shame you have to pay $50 to fix something that should have goddamn worked in the first place. But really cool of these guys to work on it, number one, donate their time. They didn't have to fix the problem, and also to install it. It's not their fault that you need to pay for parts. It should be the original seller who should pony it up. But at least these guys stepped up and are providing the service and are making a product that should be awesome the way it should be. It should be awesome, and it'll be great and perfect. I'm going to do some before and after captures just to have on the Corrective Consciousness
that's
page.
That's a good idea, actually. Yeah, like, just, like, don't take my word for it, you know?
No, I'm going to play some Dracula X and some other games and show you, a before and after of both the sound and the visuals. Mm-hmm. Of course, this will take some time before it comes out because I need to install it and I need to get the boards in my hands. But it's a big deal that this was released and also really cool. And it's called the FU RGB because... like, fuck you guys.
Oh, it's actually... Wow, that's amazing.
But yeah, this is a big deal because these guys are... at least the Mobius Strip Technologies and Voltar are actually making this board non-profit. They are making this board and installing it at cost. For the community because they want to fix this problem.
Yeah, so basically you're just covering the cost of what they would have had to pay, and that's it.
That's it. They're not
amazing.
Trying... They basically have said, we don't want to hold you guys ransom for a thing that should have been done right the first time around.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And also unnecessary. Like, I would have paid them good money for this, but I'm glad that they did it, and I think it's really cool. So... I'm going to move on to, because we are running out of time, but a couple other little things. Well, this is a pretty big thing, but I'm going to limit the time on it.
Okay.
Somebody came out, Citrus 2000 PSI on Twitter, who is famous for the internal HDMI mod for the GameCube.
The GameCube. Oh, that, yes. Okay.
And also the Wii one. Has come out with a Dreamcast HDMI mod.
Yeah, there's the Dreamcast. Okay.
This is awesome because a portion of the games are VGA compatible, and a portion of the games are only RGB compatible. Therefore, making it a nightmare to play all of the games on the Dreamcast in a good format. It's very, very difficult. You need to have a Toro box and an upscaler to make it happen, and it's a big pain in the ass. A lot of the solutions, including the out-of-the-box plug-and-play HDMI cable. Do not play the RGB-only games, which is a big problem because the original Bangai-O, which is awesome, is not included in the games you could play. Plus, you want to play everything. So it sucks, but this mod will allow you to play all of the games in HD quality, upscaled all the way up to 1080p, I think. So it even upscales. So
That's
it doesn't
insane.
It doesn't just unify all of the video signals, which the system has that issue, but it also upscales them. So this is going to make this the definitive thing to throw into your Dreamcast. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to want that for sure.
Now you can finally play Shenmue in HD.
Yeah. What's that like?
Now you can play.
It's actually really funny.
Lotus, you can finally play it with the Coke the Coke machines intact.
Oh yeah, I can play the undub. That is one thing the PS4 won't give you is the undub, the stuff that was censored for like advertisement. Yeah.
So and probably the final thing I'm going to mention here is I'm a big fan of this. One of the big Neo Geo games got released for Switch, which is called Twinkle Star Sprites. Yeah, I was going to say, Pyro, you know about this one, right?
Yep.
So this game is really cool. It's like a combination of a puzzle game and a shmup. It's really fun. So just like any battle puzzle game, you can rain garbage on your opponents by performing, combos, and it's a lot of fun. But it involves a dodging system and various ways to shoot the enemies in order to do so, and you're going head to head against somebody on the same screen. Very fun game. I'm going to be bringing it to MagFest because it's on my Switch. So, this is going to be a really fun game. So I just wanted to quickly mention that because it is one of the games that, like, if you're a Neo Geo fan and this is one of the games that like you wish was more accessible, and it finally is very accessible now.
Well, when are they going to release Double Dragon, the movie, the game? That's what I want to know.
Funny you mentioned that. That is
on actually
PS...
surprisingly competent.
Lotus, that is on PSN on the PS3 in the North American store. The North American store. You could buy that right now if you wanted to.
That's absurd. That's a movie licensed game, except not really, or maybe a little.
No, and they put it on PS3 PSN. So you in
that
the US
shit is bananas. What?
Yeah. And it's really funny because it didn't get an American release except in arcades. So
yeah, I was gonna say I definitely
really
remember seeing it in arcade, but there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those PS1 conversions that did get it. Remember when they were putting Japanese imports of PS1 games on the North American store?
Oh, yeah, like Choaniki. Like, I remember they had, like, the weird other section, and there's, like, 5 games in the entire thing.
Yeah, there's even some games that are completely unplayable and nobody would ever buy, like, unless you knew Japanese. And if you did, why didn't you buy them before?
Well, even Choaniki, it's playable, but, like, who's gonna, like, you gotta know what that is.
Yeah,
you wanna
exactly.
Even consider buying.
But yeah, it's on there if you want it.
It sure is.
So anyway,
get your ass kicked.
Yeah, this is one of the last lingering like essential titles that hadn't been released. The Neo Geo titles that hadn't been released on Switch. There aren't too many like essential titles left. They have like all the games that I would tell any person trying to get into Neo Geo games, like these are the games you want to play. All of them are on there basically.
I want Sengoku 1, 2, and 3, and
they're
Cyberlife.
On there. They are all of those are on there.
Fuck yeah! Give me that Cyberlife.
Yeah, all of those games are on there, so no problem. So anyway, this was a hell of a show. We didn't even have a breather here.
Yes.
Yeah, this was a lot.
Lots of cool stuff. Oh, Katamari Damacy remake on the Switch.
Re-rolls.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah, that's also really cool.
Which is
feel
also
the
really
cosmos.
Cool. But also good on a portable system as well. But anyway,
that's true.
That is the show for this week. Yeah. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. We are growing. We had a few new subs, I think, due to our LP.
I was just gonna say we should let's play Final Fight the arcade game again and get even more subs.
Final Fight 2. No, not that 2.
Yeah. Final Fight 1, 2.
But yeah,
we should bitch about Star Wars some more.
You should definitely check out our first Corrective Consciousness LP, which was me and Lotus Prince playing Final Fight as Cody and Hagar, or no, Guy and Hagar, right? No, it was Guy and Cody. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you were Guy, I was Cody.
You were actually playing WoW.
Yes. No, we were playing World of Warcraft. You're right. No, but we had a good time playing that and also talking about stupid Star Wars stuff.
That's what I'm saying. We were just bitching about weird Star Wars decisions because, like, what else are you gonna do when you're beating up Mad Gear?
Oh man, I got to show my girlfriend the Christmas special so I could tell her about Kashik porn.
I was literally just gonna say, like, I got a better idea. If you want to maintain that relationship, do not show her the Star Wars special. You know what I want to see is like 7 minutes of untranslated Wookiee speak and then softcore porn.
SD Arthur for some reason. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes.
Podcast, yeah.
It helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for a sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the podcast where we explore the inanity of pop culture. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on Steam, PSN, Xbox Live, Twitter, Battle.net, and Switch.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you're interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, actually the day you're listening to this, Zone of the Enders 2 will have begun.
Which version?
PS3.
Okay, because they do have a PS4 version of that now.
Yeah, but like as far as I'm concerned, it's redundant. I don't have VR.
Okay, gotcha.
But otherwise, you could also get involved in a Discord chat with me and other patrons. So perhaps consider. I did it. Start the whole podcast over. Consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
And you can find me as PyroJackFrost or Cloud08540 on Battle.net, PSN, Xbox Live, and now Switch. Oh, and Steam.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, and he also has his own Chia Pet now for the holidays.
I do?
Yo,
you
what?
do now. You can find it at Walgreens.
Well, I guess I need to buy that for myself. It's a gift to myself.
Hooray.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Hooray.
All right, guys. We will catch you on Thursday for Corrective.
Until next time, everyone.
See ya, everyone.